How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room. I am Jason C. Welcome back. Glad to see you. If you're a subscriber, glad you're here. If it's your first time here and you're looking for the latest in whiskey and bourbon news and reviews, you have found the right channel. So think about hitting that subscribe button below and also hit that bell notification so you know when I'm putting out a new video. So today we have a pretty cool episode, guys. Today we are reviewing the Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond 9 years old fall 2018 release from Heaven Hill. Let's get into it. Okay, so Old Fitzgerald is a bottle, it's a label, a brand that has a lot of history to it. Old Fitz was originally created in 1870 for luxury mass transit, railroad and steamships, and private clubs as well. John E. Fitzgerald, who was a U.S. Treasury agent, obviously had a specific clientele in mind for his product and a knack for picking some really good barrels of whiskey. Now, after 30 years of being only available in luxury locations, it was brought to the masses, and that's when its popularity soared. Now, that popularity went undiminished during Prohibition, but post-Prohibition was acquired by Pappy Van Winkle and was turned into a wheated bourbon and became their best-selling, most recognizable, and most protected brand. So Stitzel Weller was closed in '92, and the brand sold off to Diageo, who then sold it to Heaven Hill in 1999, who continues to own it today. It's still a wheated recipe, and most of which goes into the popular Larceny brand. So as a leading producer, the Heaven Hill Distillery boasts an incredible volume of bottled and bond whiskey. Their Old Fitzgerald project began in 1999 when Heaven Hill purchased the brand and began aging wheated bourbons in the 2000s under the late Parker Beam and his son Craig. Now, the Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond series really is a true expression of history by distinguishing between the two distilling seasons each year, spring and fall, going back to a time when distillation was more closely dependent on seasonal grain harvests. Now, some of you may know the bottled and bond regulations were developed to ensure quality during a time when product tampering was more common. Old Fitzgerald, Larceny, and a handful of other brands are a fitting tribute to the days when the best whiskey approved and monitored by the Bottled and Bond Act of 1897, which to most ensures quality. So this bottle of Old Fitzgerald that we're reviewing was produced in October 2008 and bottled in August of 2018. This is the second of 10 in Heaven Hill's Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond series. These will be a buy and release, and each bottle in the series is denoted by different color labels, with the fall 2018 release sporting a black colored label and all of them coming in this beautiful ornate decanter bottle. As was the case for the spring edition, this edition's tax strip, which always has been a signature of transparency on bottled and bond products, will disclose when the liquid was produced and bottled. It meets the strict requirements of a bottled and bond, being the product of a single distillery from a single distilling season, aged a minimum of 4 years and bottled at 100 proof or 50% ABV. All right, guys, so here's the close-up. As you can see, this is just a stunning, beautiful bottle of bourbon. There's not really a bottle that's like this on the market. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I love the tax strip on top. It just really calls back to a really historic bottle of bourbon. As we mentioned, this is from Heaven Hill. This is the fall 2018 release of the Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond, aged 9 years, and has an MSRP of around $90. So let's get it open here. Ooh, that's in there. And wow, that was in there nice and tight. Wow, this top just alone is really heavy. You see the tack strip there. All right, let's get a nice pour. All right, here we go. All right, guys, so glad you got a closer look at that bottle. This really nice decanter style. It's like, you know, when you empty it out, you can definitely reuse it as a decanter. Once I'm done with this, I think I'm going to plan to maybe do a blend or two in here. Should be pretty cool. So before we get into it, let's get a look at the color real quick. It's got a really nice golden honey copper color, a little hint of an orange tint in there. Really nice looking color on it. It's got some pretty good legs too. All right, let's get into the nose. Here we go. Classic wheated bourbon flavors there on the nose. A lot of sweet corn. This is 75% corn. Wow, really nice green apple and cinnamon flavor there on the nose too. Wow, really gives you a almost kind of an apple pie type flavor. Delicious on the nose. Definitely picking up a good amount of oak on there too. A slight maybe hint of chocolate there, I think. It's definitely got a roasted nuttiness to it too, a roasted nut flavor right there on the nose as well. All these flavors just keep coming out. Really, really nice nose. Mostly sweet. A little bit of that cinnamon, a little bit of that apple flavor in there. That's got some nuttiness to it, and definitely some oak. Really beautiful nose. All right, let's go in for the first taste, guys. Here we go. Cheers. Ooh. Oh wow, that came off on my palate on the first sip as way more butterscotchy than I thought it was going to be. You definitely get that corn sweetness, but the first wave of flavor I got was just all kind of peanut and butterscotch. That was a really good first sip. All right, let's go in for the second one. Let's see what we get. Cheers. It's very mouth coating, way more mouth coating than I thought it was going to be for a 100 proof bourbon. It's really sticking to the palate nicely. Got really nice hints of corn there. That nuttiness is still in there. The green apples that I got on the nose is definitely coming through a little bit. There's also kind of a raisin note in there, kind of a dark raisin flavor. But that butterscotch caramel flavor that I got in that first hit, that's what's really kind of setting it apart for me right now. All right, let's go in for another sip here, guys. Here we go. Yeah, this is turning into just corn, caramel, butterscotch, maybe that little hint of raisin and apple there. Really sweet. It's so easy to drink. There's almost no like proof to it. It's kind of crazy. I mean, you feel it on the first couple sips, being 100 proof. You feel that nice kind of that Kentucky hug kind of going down, but it's not super long. But it's got a really nice mouthfeel. The flavor's just kind of sticking around. It's really good. Let's go for another sip. Yeah, the finish to me, it's crazy because the finish to me, it's almost like I want more from it. It finishes really, really, everyone says the word smooth, but it is. It's very smooth. It's very creamy. It's got vanilla. It's got oak there on the finish. It doesn't offer like so much of a burn. But the finish is kind of medium, but it's also not very long. And all those really nice flavors I'm getting on the finish, I kind of just want more of it. And it's like almost there, but then it just kind of cuts off. But from beginning to end, it's a really nice, really delicious bourbon. Let's go in for one last sip. We could kind of talk about the whole experience. All right, so now that my palate's gotten used to this, in the front, you're getting a lot of vanilla. You're still getting that really beautiful butterscotch flavor. Maybe a hint of nuttiness in there too. Definitely a tinge of maybe the apple or raisin, but it's not as prevalent as it was on the first few sips. It's really kind of evened out into just a really nice, sweet, really pleasing sip. And then on that finish, vanilla, oak, you're getting a little bit of that raisin flavor there too, along with that apple as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful bourbon, really nice wheated bourbon. I just want more from that finish. If you just had a little bit more of a kick on that finish, it would be one of probably the best pours I've had in a while. All right, guys, so yeah, I'm really kind of enjoying this. I keep kind of nosing it. More flavors are coming out, more corn, vanilla, apple. Just a delicious bourbon. I'm really liking this. Now, the first edition was an 11-year-old bourbon that was priced with a suggested retail of about $110. Seeing as this release is 9 years old and was priced at $90, I'm wondering if Heaven Hill is kind of doing about $10 per year of aging for their limited edition releases. Now, this is a really delicious release, and although it might not be the most complex bourbon I tasted recently, for a wheated bourbon, it does really hit all the right notes and just is absolutely delicious. Now, Heaven Hill alone makes other really popular bottled and bond bourbons that actually sit below $30. One being Henry McKenna, 10-year, which has become a fan favorite, and also the just discontinued and the ever popular Heaven Hill bottled and bond that was actually under $20. Now, with that said, this bourbon comes in this beautiful, beautiful bottle that I think, can serve as even a great home bar decanter once it's emptied out. Now, yes, the bottle is beautiful, but as far as secondary prices, I've been seeing this being sold for about $140 to $200, and even some actual stores are pricing this bottle all the way up to about $400, which is nuts. Now, the bourbon to me is not worth $400, or I don't even think I'd pay $200 for it. I think the most I'd pay for this is probably between $120 to $150, just to really have the beautiful bottle. And really, the bourbon inside is absolutely delicious. If you love weeded bourbons, this will give you a really great sipping experience. It's full of flavor, full of sweetness, really good. For the suggested retail price of $89.99 or $90, I'd gladly grab another bottle of this. All right, guys, well, thanks again for watching the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room. I really appreciate you coming by and watching this episode for the Old Fitzgerald 9-year bottled and bond bourbon. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button below. Please hit that like button. Find me on Instagram and also find me on Twitter. Let me know what you think about this, or if you've had any of the other releases. Really appreciate it. And as I always say, it is not about the whiskey, it is the people you share it with. So cheers, everyone, and I'm gonna have some Old Fitz. Here we go.